सौ पुत्र समान. Means it's a very good slogan. Means आप एक ट्री को सेव कर रहे हैं. You are saving one tree. You are just like caring child of 100 children. So it is very beneficial for the society. So
okay, we'll take one more.
It is also not just makes a change, but changing the thinking of the people at an individual level will definitely make a change. So how to persuade them to think at an individual level and take responsibility, because people are not ready to take responsibility at an individual level. How to change that?
Okay.
Sir, actually I want to say that yesterday in a conference I heard that developing countries, the countries which are highly developed are more polluted, and the countries which are less developed are less polluted. So my question is, in a developing country like India, how can we achieve sustainable development?
Yeah. Okay, very good. So there's an engagement, a conversation between the students and the faculty and the administration of the Shaheed Bhagat Singh College, as well as intelligentsia all around the city of Delhi and India. So thank you very much for your for joining in the conversation. It made me reflect a lot, and I'm going to take back some of these lessons and think about them. And I hope that eventually we will be able to create some kind of a...
Mr. Paul Srivastava has been kind enough to be the moderator. Thank you so much, sir. Now may I please invite Professor Faiza Sorsa on the dais, please. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now may I take this honor to invite Professor UAM Canada, is a doctor in philosophy and a publisher of several books in history of management. He has also written a book on Aristotle and management and ethics. We welcome you, sir. Now may I request Professor Varsha to felicitate Professor Bernard.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now may I please invite Professor Corinne Genjon from UP to felicitate Professor Corinne Genjon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Modeling and control of smart.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind gesture. So we are about to begin our roundtable discussion. I request our moderator, Professor Paul.
One announcement, please. Due to logistics problems, we could arrange this in a roundtable shape. So please bear with us. Thank you.
Public already is pretty moderate over here. But I guess I'm going to facilitate this session. And we have on the dais 3.5 speakers. And she didn't have prepared remarks for it, but she's willing to say a few words. And we'll let Corinne go at the end. We'll begin with Professor Rajit Garg, and let him have, maybe each speaker can speak for 6 to 8 minutes, Sorsa, and then Professor Girard, and then finally Corinne Genjon. So I invite Professor Rajit Garg to make his presentation.
Sort of points from that panel that I want to talk about. I think that, and I'm going to refer back to some of the very interesting comments made by our historian faculty member and who talked about Gandhi and so on and so forth. I think there's a whole notion that capitalism and so on and so forth. I think that capitalism and socialism can coexist. I really do want to make that point, but I also want to say that something that was mentioned about creative minority. I'm a very strong believer in the word things, and that is called entrepreneurship. And you have to really think for yourself. You have to think against the grain, whether it be for starting the world's largest computer company, or it be perhaps for finding a way to have recyclable plastic bottles that we're all drinking from right now. I mean, that is one of the most unsustainable business that has been invented. And, imagine if we could have clean water from a city, and then we would be all consuming water from the tap. Well, in Los Angeles, the water in Los Angeles in California, which is where I live, is one of the cleanest water from the tap of this country. I was in Korea yesterday, and so it's okay to drink from the tap, I'll drink from the tap. So sustainability, I think you can be creative. Can you have recyclable water, plastic, recyclable water bottles as an example? We have a lot of students here at the back, and I was really, very impressed with the questions you guys were asking. And I can bridge and at the same time do something that is good for the world. And I love the idea about start small, start with your neighborhood. Can you just clean up your neighborhood? Maybe set up a little, brilliant analogy. But anyways, smart grid and energy. We have, in the whole world, we have an energy crisis. Even in America, sustainability is we have all these power plants that were designed, solar and wind. And it's a badly engineered system. But that's how our world was designed. The power grid was designed, for example, in North America. Today we're trying to get smarter about it. Nothing wrong with that kind of thinking. So programs like mine are trying to do research in smart grids to allow, wind and solar, for example. What is the issue with wind and solar energy, and why is there so much talk about it? Well, the good is selling batteries for storing solar energy in the grid. Electric cars, like I have a research project. I take energy from the grid, store it into the electric car at night, and send it back to the grid the next afternoon. I'm using technology to solve a social problem, and I'm willing to bet in the future there will be some way to make money. Well, if society doesn't care, if the governments don't care, then unfortunately the most unsustainable business will always win. You have to do all these things. That's what is being an entrepreneur is all about. So those are the kinds of things that I think you have to do. But the government has to give incentives for good social programs to be successful. The private industry is not going to carry it because they just want to. And why I'll talk about it. In that time period, the government has to come and has to pitch in. Either they fund the R&D or they fund the scalability. Los Angeles was so horribly polluted. You think you came into some horrible.
These private regulation tools, and also how they should take into account government law, so that they don't break those laws, and how they can implement these laws. So, and what is important in all these issues is that all these private regulation tools, they are developed in and they cover the environment, the social and economic issues, which are the core of the social corporate. So, take this kind of new teaching modules, and we have. Well, then another point. Do I have time? Then another, and especially in coffee, both companies have started to offer only sustainably produced coffee in their restaurants. So I think that these are examples where companies are using that consumer demand pulls the sustainability. So I think that. And another example from retail business, and again, the coffee private labels are sustainable.
Your job, our job, manager's job is to make money for yourself first, then money for the shareholders. Economics, and talk with Kenneth Arrow, he said trust is very important. Without trust, there is a market. The central bank in the States, he said if we are described this, it's because of the humility. Being philosophy actually, I look at what philosophers says on ethics. It is our job, work on ethics. And when we come to the tradition, which is called there are rules and they are to be obeyed. There is a rule that you should not lie, you should not lie. You should not say consequences of actions go, then your actions go. Which is not very helpful either. Think about all these people who gave money to these Americans to buy houses that people the mortgage. So, none of this question is good. So I looked a bit more, and I remember we have the third question, very probably comes from the 4th century before Christ. Greece, Europe, Greece and Aristotle. And Aristotle said ethics is a matter of virtues. And he said, if you look at the behavior of the people, and let's say we have 4 types of behavior, 4 types of people. People that do bad things.
And just forget about it. We talk of corporate ethics, strategy and all those big things, but it starts right here when these kids are in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade.
Yes, thank you very much on how to use them ethically. So, and internet is such a... No, the gentleman in front here. Yeah. Oh, wait.
के ऊपर मानव सकते हैं, मनुष्य सकते हैं, और ठीक जैसे ये सस्टेनेबल आइडियाज के बारे में इतने विचार विमर्श और बड़े एनर्जेटिकल रूप में हुए हैं, तो हर आइडियाज के 3 मीनिंग होते हैं सर। एक मीनिंग जो केंद्र में है, जो 2% है, और सिविल सोसाइटी जिसकी बात हम कर रहे थे अभी, तो 2% के इर्द गिर्द 2% और मान लिया जाए जो उस सिविल सोसाइटी के आसपास जो बेनिफिट और लाभ के लिए लोग लगे हुए हैं उनसे, और 6% लोग जो हैं वो हाशिए और हाशिए के बाहर होते हैं सर। तो ये 3 बिंदुओं के ऊपर अगर 3 मीनिंग अर्थ लगा दिया जाए इसका, कि जो मुख्य भूमिका में है, जो मुख्य रोल में है, जो केंद्र में है और जो केंद्र के बाहर है, और जो हाशिए और हाशिए के बाहर है, इसके लिए सस्टेनेबिलिटी का सवाल कहाँ होता है और किस रूप में होता है। जबकि आज पूरी दुनिया में, पूरे ग्लोबलाइज्ड मार्केट में हम जल, जमीन और मानुष की सस्टेनेबिलिटी की सवाल उठा रहे हैं दूसरी तरफ। सर इसको हम समझना चाहिए।
So, passing some kind of remarks, and this is his observation. So if you could throw some light regarding this. I hope this is a...
So I think what I hear is that he's saying that there are 2 and then 6% that is within the center, but the remaining are ignored. And how do we create?
मतलब सर 2% लोग जो है 8% पर अपने
years. Now these schemes which were before set only by companies, now they are trying to involve also civil society actors, and so they have given possibility to representatives of civil society and farmers and so on in the decision making. So these schemes are evolving so that they try to participate also different stakeholders. So at least I see that these schemes are developing. So that is one way to give possibility and voice to the civil society actors. And also these actors can be very active in monitoring these systems. So there are...
One of the problems is that the model we have communities, we have the Greek ancient model in our heads, but we don't have a model for mass democracy. We don't know how to handle the mass democratic system. It was said by an earlier presentation, that's not what I'm saying. To enter in decision for some complex issues, you need knowledge. So it goes hand in hand with education. The problem is that we are diseducating out our, I would say, little gnome in ourselves instead of the enlightened person we can be. And if you are diseducated 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day by this kind of message, after out of you and to be able to behave in another way and to enter into democratic dialogue, and especially I will talk about my country, North America, which is the only message they have in their daily lives.
Thank you. Professor Girard?
Yes, I was very interested. I'd like to see the word number 5.
First 2-3 sessions I was amazed how the law was well managed and things were coming together. But I'm sorry to say that about this panel now, I'm a little bit disappointed. What happened in this panel, we see two Indians, but they are not really Indians. And they run away. They cannot really understand. They don't really fit anymore in the culture. And they don't understand your pain and the way you do things. I love the presentation of Sanjeev, and I rather, in retrospect, I'll put them there because he'll help you better. He'll be this connection that will facilitate and get our experience and adapt it, help you solve your problems better. What I meant, and I'm sorry to say, but Rajiv, you acted like real American here. The best thing about America is that they think they know what people want. They think they know how to solve your problems. They will impose. Rajiv, you gave an example that makes me shiver. You said that you teach ethics people by giving credit for someone for their knowledge. I would rather share my knowledge. I don't want credit. I don't want credit for that, and that's how it's gonna work. That's what I said. Your grandmother, your parents, I will give you all my knowledge, and I wouldn't request reference for that. That's not the ethics lesson that I want to give my students. Go back and put reference to the right person. I'm sorry, but if we don't share the knowledge willingly and without trying to get credit for it, we'll achieve much more. Thank you.
Okay, other questions, comments? There are two hands up there.
Thank you, Almogha, for bringing out this, for giving this comment about that. See, the question I'm referring to was about the inclusiveness policy. He was referring to the inclusiveness policy. The intention is that in a market economy, what is believed is that those who have the market power, they only enjoy the benefit. Those who do not have the market power, they are marginalized. So there is the Occupy Wall Street slogan that is about 1% for 1% by 1%. Is still valid here. So now the question is about that, how that can be, the question was very specific to India. So here, along with the environment, it's not a very big problem. Environment is not a very big problem here because the exclusion level is too high here. Looking at the 20% people, the policies are being framed. So it is not that 80% people, a decision should be taken. It may be by we know that the civil society works for that, but civil society, as he talks about, is also shrewd enough to bend it to their own advantage again. So that is, the question is about a policy which is beneficial to 80% of the population, that the government or the policy makers should look at that. So the corporate houses, so as far as this corporate policies are concerned, corporate strategy is always made for competition. Strategy is not for policy makers. The strategy is for the competition. How to nullify the plans and policies of the competitors, the rivals. That is the strategy. It is a military one. So the question is about, say, one has to go beyond the level of competition. That is what we talk about. Unless, look at India, unless there is a co-parent entrepreneurship, or you talk about this corporate non-linearity, that is the thing that you have to look at. Any policy that is beneficial to mass. So look, 80% people. If at all it is beneficial to them, that is what the question is. Only the literate people, those who lead the civil society, then it comes. Yes, we know that the resources are owned by the government. It is managed by the private players. But the civil society, what is it, governs it, so the three things that is required is that in a synergy. We talk about the environment, we talk about the society, we talk about the governance. It is about the governance part and the societal responsibility. So the thrust should be made on societal responsibility, and one should look at the governance part. One should look, who are the watchdogs? Who are the watchdogs? Who will look at that? Yeah, when you talk about the FDI in multi-brand retail, when the debate was going on, look at everybody was concerned, expressing concern about 80%. Look, leaving here the livelihood of the people, 70% of the people that depend on agriculture, forest, etc., etc. So whether this will be beneficial, there is always an apprehension about that. So it is about that the companies which will come to this country, whether they will pursue such a policy that will be beneficial to a mass. So that is the question that we need to answer.
Okay, so I think parts of the question have been alluded to by the speaker. The right kind of governance, you are not going to get the policy responsive to the needs of everybody in society rather than to the few that are in power. And how do we do that in the context? I don't think I have a complete answer to it, but I think it is also the responsibility of the populace, of the public, to hold their governments responsible. Our holders have a change of heart. It is something that societies have to involve with some difficult work by questioning their leaders, by voting in a vast democracy like India. The benefits of development have gone to a relatively small percentage of the people. The 6 or 10% growth that has happened in the last decade has largely benefited very few people, perhaps not 1%, but definitely not more than a few more percent. And this is not from civil society, it has to come from the polity. And I think we have to learn this lesson and question the assumption on which governments work. And this is of course complicated by a lot of other things that I have relatively poor understanding. Can we make more responsive?
No, it is the corporate governance we are talking about.
I'm talking about both corporate governance as well as public governance of common resources. Governance as a concept needs to be rethought into favor an industrial, urban-based development, which by definition profits only a few. And that is the reason right from the first lecture and numerous times during this conference I have been pushing the idea that for India to develop, you cannot have that kind of segmented.
You talked about the Kantian, the ontological and consequential ethics, but I will talk about the Benthamite ethics, because Benthamite, Jeremy Benthamite, he gave one very important slogan when he talked about maximum benefit to maximum number. And perhaps that is the solution. This is a key word which we remember when we practice management. We can come to a very easy answer to what we need to do about it. And besides that, I will also talk about Rawls. John Rawls talks about redistributive justice. He talks, and also, I would like to take the name of Rousseau, the general will, that is the combined will, goodwill of the people summed together to produce the good of the larger society. These are my points, because these are the scholars and the philosophers which are missing, absolutely absent in the discourse of management and commerce. And secondly, I would talk about the change of nomenclature of corporate social responsibility. I think we have to change it to corporate social accountability, whereby we underpin the answerability of the corporates. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those comments. I think
Thank you,
they're a good
Very excellent.
summation of what is needed for ethics to get incorporated. Okay, so I think one more? Yeah.
That I'm too late, but just continuing the things about the Rousseau and others, I think Shakespeare is needed more nowadays because of this insensitive and cruel attitudes of these multinational companies, as referred to by Dr. Khurana today about the Union Carbide case. And we have serious doubts about the experiences, we have the experiences of the colonial era also, and how these companies behave. So, for removing all these doubts, foreign capitals in technology is not a bad thing in themselves. They changes the society. but the lack of regulation on the part of government is very much there, and a country like India, which is very poor, not well educated, as you say that this is the responsibility of society to put pressure on the government. This is not happening in this country. As you see on the FDI, there was a heated debate in the parliament, and the margin you can see, the margin is not the margin of the society which it fills. So there is serious doubt that has to be removed, and I think Shakespeare is needed more.
Okay, people in this room are going to have to very carefully assess. The elections are coming up. India seems to be in the general election cycle, so somewhere or the other. And I hope some of these reflections that you've heard on this panel are question of doing recycling in